What is going on, the Gecko? We just joined in and we are live.
Holy Lord, you are loud. What's up, man? Welcome, welcome. No,
I don't
it's
always drop into other people's streams, but when I do, I'm basically screaming.
I think it was my headset. I think the stream hears you fine. I just raised up the level on my headset and oh buddy. That scared scared the life out of me right there. What's up, Alan? Welcome to the stream. How's it going, man?
Boo. Good, man. Good. I fired up the stream. I had to like hurry because it's early in the morning and I just got out of bed and I'm like doing all this stuff. And then, you know, I got my caffeine right next to me and I just like, boom, knock it over, spill it everywhere.
Oh no.
So wrecked.
I hate
Who knew
that
there was like so much liquid in a cup of tea?
I know, right? It's like you think it's not there, but it really is. Like when it spills, it goes everywhere. All right, let me replace.
I got my hand off to the side, cleaning it up still. Awkward. Anyways,
that sucks.
I'm just showing off some talent builds, and then I'm gonna switch over to check out this Ark of Osiris. I'm super pumped. What do we need to know about this Ark of Osiris? And
so actually, I have a question for you before I answer all that. You remember how we talked last duo cast about the fact that it's all about the more marches, the better?
It's all about the marches, baby.
All right, so here's a challenge for you, because this one is a really interesting one. This is a 16 versus 30. Okay, but the 30 are actually much weaker because the power differential between them is about 12 million power. So this is 16 big boy players against 30 players that average about 8 million power. So the average power between them is 8 million to the 30s versus 15 million to the 16. So today we are going to challenge this concept of it's all about the marches, because the question is quantity or quality. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I mean, when I said it's all about the marches, I don't know that I intended like a small number of like highly teched out T4s versus T3s as an example. Not that that's what we're gonna see, but let's push the stun theory to its limits.
I know, right? I mean, we might as well try it out. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to set up this multi-stream done really quickly so our folks can watch both screens.
Good news. Well, you set that up. I'm going to power through just a ton of questions because I basically, to fill the awkwardness of my going away to clean up my spilling caffeine, I was like, oh yeah, drop questions in to the chat and I'll answer them when I get back. So here we go. Here we go. Do you think the event decorative structures will return? Absolutely. We're going to get more decorations from our city. Eventually, they'll have to give us more room in the city, or you're going to have to be choosy about what you actually put into your city. When will I get to T5s? Probably in a month and a half or so. I'm going to try to beat KVK with T5s, but we'll see if I actually get there. Who's the best on-field commander? I mean, it depends. We really need to talk about a commander pairing. My favorite single commander, possibly right now for Ark of Osiris, might be Yi Seong-Jae. Didn't see that one coming, did you? That is because AoE damage is bananas, and Yi Seong-Jae is the king. Who will be my next max legendary? Possibly Yi Seong-Jae. We'll see when Saladin ever comes out.
Ooh, that's a loaded statement right there.
I know, right? Do you think the game runs smoothest on iOS tablet or BlueStacks? So, I could not get the game to fire up cleanly with BlueStacks. I did get Nox, I think is the name of it, to work when I fired up on my Alienware. The Alienware that I have is old, because I'm mostly a mobile gamer at this point. But, yeah, I play on my iPad Pro, and it is excellent. Ankit saw my Charlie guide. Excellent. Solid build. Good. Okay, I flashed my builds on the screen, so hopefully those are helpful to you. Put a lot of thought into every single talent point that went into those. Good. You're going to try to get him to 5 the first, and then hopefully 5 the second. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Max the first skill, max the second skill, then proceed to unlock the other two if you can be patient, and not everyone can. Like if you're at war.
What's going
There's
on
no time for
YouTube? Chisgule's answering a few questions.
No
How's it
time
going,
for
Georgiana?
patience. Bowden's
Drami,
asking what was all that clanging.
Alan,
Yes, that was me spilling
Headhunter.
things.
How you guys doing?
Cheers to that.
Welcome to the stream,
I did show
everybody.
off my garrison commanders briefly.
By the way, we're a minute and a half into before the event starts, and multi-streams have been linked in the chats, so this should be a really, really good one.
Killer Alon, what is going on, buddy? Welcome to the chat. Jlax showing up. My alliance members in force here. Excellent.
Hell yeah.
Our Ark of Osiris is a little bit later today. We're going to be trying out a new strategy. I don't think I'm going to stream it. I feel like...
Can I cast your stream?
Yeah, right. I mean, like, what I might do is just record it and film it, and so I can put it up later. That's probably the play.
What time is yours? It's oh, well, it's today, so there's only one slot left, right? It's 8 p.m.
Today, it's the 20.
Yeah,
20
8 p.m. UTC. Yeah, ours is the same. We're doing the K58 High Alliance is fighting at 8, and a small spoiler alert. Hopefully, as you say, right? Spoiler alert. Hopefully, next time our Ark of Osiris happens for High, it is going to be an insane one. There's some talks behind the scenes which I've yet to reveal to everybody, but trust me when I tell you, the Ark of Osiris that High are planning next time around, if it works out, is going to be insane. And the Ark of Osiris has begun. Whoo-wee. Let's go look at what's going on the field.
All right, we're in, and we're going to be in the bottom right. There we go, folks porting in. And I see folks porting in on the top left. I see a lot of guys from the red team from CdR. I always mess it up. It's CRD, right? Or CdR? CdR. I always mess it up, and I'm in that alliance. The blue team has ported in, and it's kind of cute. Go look at the blue team really quickly. That is really cute. There's like 8 people here. Okay, but like 31 million power, 21 million power, exactly. Million power, exactly. 13, 16. I mean, these are some high power players. We just scrolled through the power level of the players that are with the alliance that we're observing, and it's not that high. It is not at all. The alliance leader is 5. There is a 30 million power player on this side. Have you seen the power differential here? Have you seen the picture? Have you seen the picture of the alliance leader? Yes. Yes, I have. I've got fans. That's great. I apparently got fans I did not even know that I had. That's you do know the fan. You definitely know this fan. That is one of your top supporters, and so is mine. That is none other than AB the Beast. What? I mean, Barbie Girl is a far cry from AB the Beast. I don't really know why he became Barbie Girl. I think that in his kingdom there's a couple of AB the Beasts, so he became Barbie Girl EP. I don't really know what was the thought behind that one. Okay, that's cool. We'll take it. Yeah, I don't know what to think here. The power differential is pretty huge. Yes, it is. It's pretty huge. But you know what? What's the power that you need for tier 4? I would go ahead and say that, well, my jumper is at 6.9 right now, and it has 40k of each tier 4. But my jumper is a little bit of a bad example, because that's an account that is as optimized as it can be. All the mistakes I potentially made and or people make have not been made on that account. So to say that 6.9 is reasonable for tier 4s, it is. But I wouldn't necessarily say that if you see someone here that's 7 million power, he must have tier 4s, not tier 5. Sorry. So AB to Beast, I mean, I'm surprised he's at 4.7 million power. This kingdom is Kingdom 231, where these guys come from, is an insanely war active kingdom. Okay, these guys are in wars for like 3 months straight, non-stop. Russians versus Chinese versus Codeine family versus everything. So he's not necessarily
low-level player. I think he just is a bit short on tier 4s. That's what I would assume. You can see he's already sprinting out with calves out the door right there.
Indeed. Looking good. And really, when you think about it, let's just talk strategy for a second. The Alliance leader is the furthest forward of all players. They really should be the one sending at least one of the speedy armies to one of the obelisks. They have to be. I mean, it never occurred to me before, but like, they're in front, they have to be the one. It's pretty straightforward.
I'd go as far as saying that for the Ark of Osiris, if your bigger player is a trustworthy player, transfer that leadership to let him in and get him forward. I mean, it is a strategy to think about. I wonder if the second line of attack are R4s, because if the two guys down below him, like the second level, are R4s, then your whole structure of your alliance should potentially shift only for the Ark of Osiris. But of course, it needs to come with trust, because once you transfer that leadership, boy oh boy, what happens if you don't get it back?
It's weird. It's super weird. It's super weird. I will say these are officers. Assuming he's got at least 2 officers, that's where they show up.
So that would make a lot of sense.
They will show up. Alright, so let's see here. As these guys are spreading their way across the map, folks showing up with questions. And I just want to call out that for the Gecko and me, we're going to be really focused on Ark of Osiris basically after First Blood is drawn, until we feel like there's a clear winner one way or another. So now is the last time for questions. From there, we'll get to your questions toward the end. That will be when we can hit questions. We're not ignoring you. It's just there's going to be way too much to talk about.
Exactly. And we can already say that the Codeine family is starting ahead with 2 outposts ahead of the blue team. Who are the blue team again? It's H8F, right? H8F. Holy Lord.
Good morning.
That's a loaded statement right there. That's a they take their first
14 on 29.
It is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy.
What's the power differential?
I mean, at this stage, we're talking. It was 242 million for CdR versus 233 for H8F.
Wow.
So only 9 million power difference between the two.
Okay.
We'll see. We still got people who need to show up from the Hong Kong on Fire Alliance.
Indeed. Meanwhile, CdR spread very nicely across the map, doing what they need to be doing. Now they need to be posturing forward toward the Sky Altar, toward the Shrine of War, and also the Shrine of Life. That said, I think I see something that I really like here, which is that this one player is saying, I'm not just going to stop at the Shrine of War. This train stops for no one. They're making their way up toward this level 1 caravan, and I think they should be pushing toward the enemy structure, which if the enemy's not paying attention, that will go pretty darn well. You're not going to get points for capturing it, but you might stall them for a little bit, which seems totally fine to me. So
he has already been spotted. I'm seeing a scout marching towards him. There's another march going towards the same caravan. And funny thing is happening right here, right? Look at the caravan they're aiming at really quickly. You see that there's a blue march marching towards that caravan. Now, we know from resource tiles that if 2 people march on the same time to a resource tile to gather it, not to fight, what ends up happening is that the first person that makes it in, and the second person that gets there gets booted back. Without fighting, without anything. So if that blue player who just left, unfortunately, would have stayed in that caravan, my question is whether Leth would have actually been pushed back, like a march back, like a regular resource tile, or he would have fought for this caravan. That would have been really interesting.
Well, I want to see Leth charge at this guy, because I think Leth, it looks like visually he has more T1s than this guy does. This guy's running because he doesn't have the T1s to tango. So
exactly.
So we got a little fight here with like a Dragon Lancer that's got like, I'm zooming all the way in here, some small number of troops versus another speedy army with probably more troops. I never
this
thought
is
there was a real argument.
3 versus 1 tier 1s.
I mean, like, think about it for a second, though. It makes sense that, like, if everybody brings one tier 1 troop, then you need to make sure you have 2, so that if you ever encounter them on the battlefield, you can beat them. And now we're seeing that, like, actually this is super relevant.
Left needs to be careful, though. Left needs to be careful because there's a full infantry marching ahead pretty close to the caravan near him. He's getting played around instead of him being in the desert altar already to stall the blue team. He is focusing on this one march while there is another march with full infantries really close to that desert altar. And at this stage, I mean, it really wouldn't make a difference, I guess, because
oh yeah, he's done his job. As long as he prevents this guy from getting in the altar, he's stalling them from getting time. He was never going to get points anyways, because he would have to hold it for 3 minutes, and he wasn't going to be able to hold it for 3 minutes. This infantry march is here, so he did everything he needed to do. I do think that in hindsight, he needed to keep distance between himself and the player. Like, he needed to be between the enemy player and this altar.
And he just made the best play he could have made right now. Yeah. He took out that one march from the desert altar, restarting that clock. Yeah. Perfect play. And the red team actually have three altars right now. Well, blue team is charging in to clear out one, and they are hunting for these altars. Look at the desert altar at the bottom of the map. There is... 2 blue marches already on their way there. It's getting melted. There's another reinforcements by Surrender too. I don't think he's going to make it in. No. The red team did pick up an obelisk though. Look at this. They managed to march with a full solo march. They did just reset that timer. They just reset that timer, but that's
here's the thing. I love the aggressive plays where they're capping the stuff on the enemy's side, but that's only cute, not good, if they haven't gotten their own Shrine of Life, which they haven't yet. Right? Like, those are good plays if you have all your structures, but cute plays if you don't have them yet. So they're about to get this Shrine of Life, which is fine. It's all fine, right? But you see what I'm getting at. I will say it is disruptive, and it stalls them from getting points. So maybe it is actually good. Maybe it is good and not just cute, because what they took is the desert altar, and those altars are worth a lot of points.
Here's the deal, though. I need to ask you seriously, okay? Please go back on the VODs of things that you have recorded of Ark of Osiris's. When have you seen the Shrine of Life not be the last building to be capped? I've honestly seen every single cast, and I've casted in 9 Ark of Osiris's. This is the 10th one in 3 weeks. That's the last building to be capped, and I don't understand why. But the red team is posturing forward. They have the Shrine of War that the blue team was supposed to hold, and the desert altar is being attacked again.
Yeah, so let me talk about that for just a second. I think that there are 2 players attacking from the front, both getting hit by the AoE from Richard I, and they really need to spread around. There we go, now he's doing that. So they're not all getting hit by the AoE, and the real reason that they must swarm this, even though they're going to take relatively high losses, is that if they don't cap this or stop the enemy from capping this in 1 minute and 22 seconds, then the enemy is going to get let's see here, 750 points. So they absolutely must swarm this, and that was a very correct play to have sent all these armies. There you go. Bam. That had me really nervous for them for a minute, that with only a small number of marches, looks like only 2, the folks in blue were going to steal 750 points, and they did not.
And the cool thing is they are already starting ahead, 250 points per minute more for the red team at this stage. There's still buildings ticking for time. I don't think the blue team is going to give it up just yet. They have 23 seconds on both their altars that they're holding currently for them to gain those 750 points, initial points. And this desert altar that has 2 minutes and 25 seconds on it, I think that's where the big wars are going to happen right now. I think that what the blue team needs to do to really step up and stop this bleeding of points is that they need to combat for this desert altar, and they gotta win the first occupation on this desert altar. They have to. That's really one of the only ways they can get back. Although, with that being said, they are still ahead in points. And the crazy thing is, the blue team, 15 combatants versus 30, is now 130 points per minute ahead of the red team. So numbers or quality at this stage, it seems like quality is winning, but we are only 13 minutes into the event and what, 5 minutes into actual live action?
Too early to call it. We'll see what the strategy is around the Ark itself. What I will add is, you know, if I am on the blue side of things, I hope they're bringing a lot of AoE commanders, because AoE seems really, really good when you are the few and they are the many.
100%. I think that they have to be holding every single building with an AoE commander or else they're screwed. And that's straight up. And the red team is doing the same thing. If you look at the Shrine of Life that's being contested right now by 3 marches, 3 blue marches contesting the Shrine of Life at the bottom of the screen, they're getting chunked by this Richard. They're just getting pounded on by this Richard. He's going to lose the building most likely, but look at the damage.
And a Sun Tzu. Look at that AoE just doing serious work. You know what combo I'm going to be bringing to the battlefield to get my AoE going?
What do you got? What do you got for us? And keep in mind that your enemies are listening in.
Yeah, they can listen. It doesn't change what I bring, right?
Nope.
Expertise, Barca, with Sun Tzu.
Interesting. What makes you do that?
Expertise Barca does AoE hitting 3 targets, reducing their defense and damage. Then, boom, swing in with Sun Tzu hitting up to 5 targets, restoring a ton of rage. That is going to do fierce, fierce work. Machine gunning out those elephants. That's
Man, one thing I really like about Barca is that elephant animation. That elephant animation is everything. It looks like the blue team might not take the Shrine of Life. This is really weird because they had the numbers and they have the quality, I guess. But I guess their positioning on the Shrine of Life was bad as 3 marches were taking the damage from that Richard, which is bad news bear. Guys, just a reminder, this is an open map game. This is an open map event. It means that you can move anywhere without having to be in a certain position. You can just move a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. So if you see that there's an AoE leader holding the building, and you know which march is the one that's taking most of the damage because it's the one tanking it, go to the other side. Stop attacking for 2 or 3 turns, go to the other side, and avoid that extra damage.
This is really going to come down to the wire over here. I'm not sure if it's going to hold. Oh, more blue armies showing up.
And they are bringing in some... Oh, God. And they're bringing in some sieges, too. They're going to be bringing in some sieges. Ted marched out. Look at Ted swapping. Is he going to actually...
I think he's going to swap.
Yep. Yeah. Good for him.
Is he going to be fast?
Is he going to be good enough? Oh, no. Oh, they lost. Oh, no, they got it. Oh, my. There was... No. We're going to have to see that again. We're going to have to replay that at the end. This is ridiculous. He barely managed to get in. And now Sir Burger is coming in.
There's the reinforcements. And crucially, yoinking the Sky Altar temporarily, possibly for points. Oh, on both sides, altars swapping. Holy moly. While the... Ooh,
what's going on?
Osiris is in play. Center field. Blue is marching it back to their side, and blue has solid control over that arc at this point.
Oh, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good for the red team. You can see Bella Rose doing exactly what he needs to be doing, which is trying to march around. But for some reason, just as I say it, he decided to just charge straight into, what, 6 blue marches? There you go, buddy. Get away from that. You got to try to go around these guys. Use the open movement. Use your movement to try to get to that arc without getting all these guys in your face. One of the things he's doing, and he's doing really well, though, is he's distracting all these defenders. When you're defending an Ark of Osiris march, an Ark march, you don't want to open up too big of a gap because if someone manages to sneak in close enough to the Ark carrier, they will most likely drop it because it is very, very easy to kill someone who's holding the Ark itself. So, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say, is that if red can hold the altars, I don't feel so bad about not capturing the flag. That seems totally fine to me. So although all that support was going to the Shrine of Life and they held it successfully, I sort of wish instead they'd prioritized the Desert Altar, keeping that objective instead, because then they would still be in a fine position for the enemy having... It looks like they're about to capture the Ark, right? So if they could have held the altar instead of the Shrine of Life, I think it would have been a much better situation. That said, right side of the field, red is really pushing up, possibly going to sweep the right side of the field, taking all the objectives, but we see the exact problem you were describing earlier, where we've got multiple armies basically eating Sun Tzu's AoE for no reason. Use that free movement to position behind or outside of that AoE, and you avoid not only basically giving the enemy free damage, but also giving them a ton of rage. 50 rage per army hit is very problematic when you are taking that damage and you don't need to be.
By the way, one thing we did not do early on the stream, and I apologize for that one because I guess that one of us said the disclaimer about the chat. The other one had to ask, are the volumes okay, chat? My chat was telling me that your volume was a bit low, so now you're back up to the max levels. And one thing that really is really cool, I love it about this event, is that at this point, the red team is ahead in points per minute, but not by a lot. These guys are going back and forth. The points per minute have been going crazy, and the gap is only about 700 points for the red team, but with the blue team carrying this arc, they're going to open up a 2,000 point lead. This is going to be down to the wire again.
And they just took the Desert Altar back for blue. So I would really love to see possibly a 1 minute rally go in on that Desert Altar. I see a lot of action around the Shrine of Life. I would give the Shrine of Life. Give it. You don't care anymore. Take the Desert Altar. You have to get that to get the points you need to win this match. Learned that the hard way the last time around for my alliance around what structures we prioritized. Instead, we do see possibly a swarm going into the Shrine of Life. Maybe part of the reason there aren't as many rallies as well is that these folks probably don't have high-level castles, right?
Well, they have one
Certainly
guy with a
compared to the
high-level
group of
castle.
16.
They have a what's his face? He just ported in forward. He is Heth.
Well, here's what I'll say.
Joker.
If he's on the other side of the map. He's not going to be the one to lead the rally, right?
Correct.
So we can even see. Well, I want to go look, but I'm like mesmerized by the combat here.
In the Shrine of Life.
I really would give the Shrine of Life here. It doesn't look worth. What I would do instead is I would have used all that energy and effort swarming the Desert Altar, and then it would have pulled the armies away from the Shrine of Life. Then you maybe would have had an easy time snagging it while their attention's distracted.
So one thing I did mention in a past cast, and I think is really relevant, is what's the effect these buildings give you, and what is it worth holding them long term or not? The Shrine of Life's main goal is to give you healing speed. It means that you will be healing faster, you'll use less speed ups. So the way I see it when it comes to the Shrine of Life, I think it is worth it for you to combat to have 2 Shrines of Life at some point during the match. And at that point, it's going to be a calculated move in which you will say, guys, we are about to take both the Shrines of Life, get ready to start healing. The moment you have both Shrines of Life, bam, that's when your alliance needs to start healing, needs to focus for 20 seconds on going back and healing, and then give up the Shrine of Life, because all you got to do is hold it for enough time so you have both of them to use your speed ups and heal up if you have the speed ups to do so. So that's another.
I think that's a great insight. That's a really good insight. That that is the time when you crank out those healing speed ups. When
you should be planning
you have both.
That's how you should be planning it. You should be planning to hit both Shrines of Life at some point so you can insta heal and then give up one of them. The Shrine of War is a separate story though, because the Shrine of War gives you troop attack and troop defense, which is valuable at any and all times. So I think that's what the red team is trying to do right now. I think the red team is really trying to catch 2 Shrines of Life so they can speed heal, because we do know that there's a huge power differential between these 2 guys. And quite honestly, this means that the red team is running out of troops. And if they do not heal, they're not going to have the ability to go on for another 38 full minutes of an event that's going on. So keep that in mind. I think that's a really cool thing to think about. You need to prioritize the altars to win the game, period. You and I can agree on this, right?
I think so. I don't know how you win without the altars.
So with that being said, if we know that, right, then what do we do with the rest of the buildings? The priority for winning the game is altars, and then what do we do with the rest? What do you think?
Well, so I honestly have no intention of focusing on taking 2 Shrines of Life. Like, I think that's a cool idea. I think that if the opportunity
Brahma,
presents
thank you very much for
itself
your
in a really clean
donation.
way,
That's
now
really
that we've
cool
talked
of you.
about
I'm
it,
sorry
that's
that
a
I'm
strategy
avoiding
I
you
might
guys.
pursue.
We're
But I'm
here.
much more concerned about the altars.
I agree.
I'm honestly not even all that concerned about the Shrine of War, which might sound insane, but like, it's fine, right? Like, it's good. It's 10%. Well, let me find a Shrine of War. 10% of stats. Yeah, like we'll get one, but it's half as many points as the altar.
I'm sorry to cut you off for a second. Look at the obelisk at the bottom left of the map. It is the blue team is pushing forward. Look at this. They decided what they need to do is get rid of the red team on the front lines, so then they can go ahead and keep holding this bottom side of the map while the red team controls the top side of the map. I wonder how the red team will react to this. Ooh.
It's really fascinating that red has pushed the top side of the map and blue has pushed the bottom side of the map.
I've been telling you this. We will reach a time where you will have my side's buildings and I'll have your sides of buildings. I'm telling you this is going to happen. It's bound to happen.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, your buildings are closer to you, so if you split your power evenly, like, you should have an easier time holding your buildings. Oh, baby, that's the kind of hack and hijack I want to see. Snag on the Sky Altar, disrupting the big point source for blue. That's
Bumblebee.
really important.
Bumblebee just going crazy. One march, took the desert altar, flew back up to a caravan, one more caravan up ahead, and he is aimed at the Shrine of War. Can he take it out of the blue team as well? Did the blue team really not leave any defenses? They are still ahead in the game, by the way. They are about 700 points ahead in this game, but they aren't making more points than the red team. Currently, the red team is about 150 points per minute more. So really, the blue team has to start stepping it up and taking these altars away, because right now, 4 altars belong to the red team. And boy, oh boy, if the red team managed to close out all these timers, 3 of these altars are still not ticking for points. The blue team.
Look at all these objectives held by red. What I think is interesting is the blue has put all of their energy and effort into the arc in the center. Look at all the objectives held by red. I cannot believe. What is going on here? There's all these blue folks fighting in the open field. Oh, wow, they're attacking a rally and doing so successfully. That's kind of interesting. I mean, like, the open field is not a place you can be. I'm not saying number of marches is super relevant, but look at the number of marches they could be at so many places at once. It's incredible. Indeed. I will say something I'm even thinking about is, like, I'm just going to send a bunch of siege units to defend a structure.
I completely agree with that play, by the way. I think that
I'm just going to send, like, 200,000 siege units. Just, who cares? Pick a nearby structure, drop them in. Not going to think about it all match.
So here's the thing, though, and I wanna really focus on this, because this is going to be a late game match, I think. The blue team has more troops, period. We can agree with that each and every one of the blue castles has more troops, except for one guy on the red team. All the rest, the blue team would probably have more troops available. So early game, the red team does have the advantage of numbers. But as time goes by, the question is whether the red team has enough healing speed-ups to keep up enjoying these numbers, because they are getting chunked down slowly and steadily. So 34 minutes still left in this match. There is a huge place for the blue team, who have more troops, to be able to endure for longer. So I really, really want to see where we get. I think this match is going to be a match where we won't be answering any questions throughout the match, because I have a feeling that the winner is going to be declared within the last 5 minutes of this event. They are still neck and neck.
All 4 altars being held by red. I feel pretty good for red, and they've even ninja'd the obelisk in the upper left. It was just undefended, I think, right? Like, if you've got siege units in your city, literally put them in some structure. Any structure, right? Like, I think that's even better than going and getting points with your siege units, I think, is to just make sure that every structure is actually defended. Because, look, like a lot of kingdoms, they don't have 5 marches of troops, really. And so they can't be in all the places they need to be and be in the open field and be moving the Ark of Osiris around.
Correct, 100%. Again, this is going to go down to the wire. At this point, just like you mentioned, the red team owns the 4 altars, and they are ticking for points for them. We are seeing 700 points per minute more for the red team, and they just now took the lead, 300 points ahead. An Ark of Osiris, an Ark should be spawning within the next minute, which will allow the blue team, who have full control of it, to most likely pick it up. One thing worth mentioning is that every Ark you pick up and you return is worth a little bit more points. So the more these guys take these Arks and do it the faster, the better it is for them, as they will most likely be able to take 3 different Arks, which is a total of 15,000 points. They're 3,000 points in, so they still have 12,000 points potentially to get from the Ark's delivery. So I'm telling you, man, I have a feeling this is gonna go down to the wire. I'm super stoked.
It could be. It could be. I mean, this is going to be an endurance match for sure.
The blue team, look at the blue team on the outpost, on the red, the red outpost, posturing forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 marches, pushing ahead, trying to cut off. I kind of don't like this play. I don't think that 30 points per minute are worth it. But I think that what they're doing is they're cutting off the closest building available for a straight arc march. Do you know if the outpost is closer than the Shrine of War?
I think that's where I would take it, but it just doesn't even matter. To your point, like 30 points a minute it's peanuts. Nobody cares.
All these guys should be aiming at the freaking altars. What are they doing?
They add up. But yeah. These altars are just quietly, silently racking up crazy amounts of points for the red team. And like, okay, so you got the Shrines of Life, so you got the Shrines of War. That's fine. I will say that now the blue team does have a 50% heal rate, which seems like a really good amount of healing speed.
I don't really care about that one. I care more about the fact that the red team does not have one at all, and they're the guys with less troops per city. Keep that in mind as well. I mean,
it is interesting that the total cost in speed ups is way higher for the alliance that has more lower tier troops than the alliance that has like fewer players and a bunch of higher tier troops, you know? Or maybe everybody's tier 4 here, so the tier doesn't matter. But I actually can't believe that this half march from an army in red might successfully chunk down this outpost.
Bumblebee has been doing work with this This is the guy who took away that quick altar earlier that you mentioned. This is the same march. It's the same exact march, moving around and just being a pest. And just like we mentioned, the blue team had to start focusing up on the altars. It seems like the red team let go of the sky altar altogether because there's only one march that really took that sky altar back. Look at the map right now. You were like, it's been 4 minutes since you said, look at how many objectives the red team has on the map. And now look at the map. The blue team is slowly creeping back in. And with them carrying the arc, boy, oh boy, I'm excited. This is good.
It is good. I really think like the folks in red just need to hold these altars. They can't tango in the open field, it seems, and that's fine. Hold the altars. Big effort going into this Shrine of Life over here. That's fine. But and maybe they are trying to get it so that they can speed up a bunch of healing, in which case that does make more sense, come to think of it. But like, oh man, I just want them to hold the 4 altars because they were doing it before. Oh, look at this single march contesting the sky altar. Is it empty? It is.
I told you it was.
What an error.
What a mistake.
What an error. And this is what I'm talking about with like, look, like put your siege units somewhere useful. I get that farming caravans is good, but
Chisgule, I see a Yi Song Ye on the screen. There is hope. I see a Yi Song Ye. I'm so happy. Look at the desert altar on the top of the map being contested by the blue team, and there's a Yi Song Ye trying to take that building away. Now, if he becomes a defender in here, boy, oh boy, the red team is going to have problems, especially if this guy has him even a little bit leveled up. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Well, you know what? An AoE commander is a lot less intimidating to me than they used to be in this mode, because you just literally just march your troops behind. And that's
not what Yi Song Ye does, though. Yi Song Ye, you remember, his AoE is a circle around him where he is in the center.
Is he expertised?
If he is, then they're screwed.
If he is, oh.
I wouldn't know if he's expertised or not. We're about to find out once he takes that building.
You just made possibly the best point I've heard for expertising Yi Song Ye, which is that there's no escaping his AoE for defending a structure in Ark of Osiris.
Or in any structure fight whatsoever. Not only Ark of Osiris.
That's true. That's true. But like, let me tell you where most of my structure fights happen. It's in the Ark, right?
Said the guy who was in a war for a week and a half.
Yeah, I know. So tell me about it. Tell me about it. So let me tell you something. Red Squad, CdR, I mean, they win the award for Ninja.
Hell yeah.
They win the Ninja award. I don't think I've seen this much Ninja yoinking in any Ark of Osiris, right? And they just send a march, and they're just testing. I don't see them scouting them first. They're just, anybody home? Let's see if we can walk in. That's kind of an expensive way to use a march because you could have been farming resources on the map, but all you have to do is capture one structure that way, and you made all the value back.
At the same time, the second you got hit because there's defenders, you walk backwards and done deal. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's worth having one march, maybe two. You know what? Let's make it in terms of an alliance, not in terms of individuals. I think it's worth having 3 marches in total as an alliance that are yoink marches. 3 people that sacrifice one of their marches to be yoinkers. Their job is to go all over the place with calves, fast calves, use the open map movement to try to sneak around and try to catch more and more buildings. And again, the red team take most of the buildings. The blue team does deliver the Ark of Osiris successfully, which puts this game at only, what, 400, 300 point differential between them? I'm telling you, dude.
So close.
I'm telling you, dude.
Is so close.
See, last time around, that's why, to be honest with you, this is the first alliance I've double casted. And the main reason for that is not AB the Beast, by the way. It is just this right here. Their past Ark of Osiris was so exciting. I think they won it in the last, like, 10 minutes of the game. And they're doing it again.
This is close. This is so close. I like the position of having the 3 altars. Even if they only hold 3 and they disrupt the 4th occasionally, they're working. They're doing work, right? If you disrupt the other one, even if it's just for like the 3 minutes, you've just robbed the enemy team of 450 points.
Exactly. That's
a big deal.
And just like that, by the way, the blue team is trying to kind of distract CdR from the main objectives by attacking their obelisk. It doesn't seem like the guys from CdR bit into this, though. It looks like just a couple of people around this obelisk are like, yo, we got this, don't worry, you don't need to panic. And that's one thing we touched on briefly last time around. By the way, red team taking the obelisk from the blue team on the top left as we just talked about obelisks. Here's the deal.
Right?
You said it yourself. This is all about deception. It's all about staying focused. And these guys are just trying to make the blue team get distracted everywhere. And just like that, look at the altars again. Look at the map again. It's half blue again. Chisgule, what's going on, mate?
I don't know. I don't feel good that our friends in red lost the altar on their side of the map on the bottom. They really need to hold that right now because it seems like they cannot contest the center, so they've got to have the structures.
One thing I'm seeing here at the bottom left, on the obelisk on the bottom left, is there's 3 blue marches trying to zero Ted Boy. And there are a substantial amount of marches from the red team right now trying to save Ted Boy. What do you think about this play? This is a really, really interesting one from the blue team.
I don't agree with it because there's an AoE commander on the wall here. So I think that, the folks, let's assume that these folks in red that are attacking from the outside of the city already had troops on the inside. Because what they should have done then is reinforce the city if they didn't.
Okay, correct.
Because then it would have been these 3 armies attacking into just this massive force and they would have been really wrecked. Either way, these 2 armies, now this is something you hear me say a lot, pretty much every Ark of Osiris, the weakness of infantry, the weakness of a mixed army with like a Scipio, is that they don't have the move speed to escape this kind of situation. These armies are as good as dead.
And I
they can't
think,
retreat,
by the way,
they just have to fight.
And I think, by the way, they knew it, and it's completely calculated, and the blue team, you're not giving enough credit to the blue team, my friend. Look at how many red marches are taking care of 2 blue marches. The blue team knew that what the red team has on them is quantity. And therefore, they sent 3 marches to hit Ted Boy, and I counted 13 red marches, including ones that went into Ted Boy's city, who focused on saving one guy's castle. While that happened, the blue team took over half of the map. They have 2 of the Shrines of Lives. The altar that they previously just took away, the desert altar they took away from the red team, was not instantly contested, and now it has 30 seconds before it starts ticking for points for them. They did. I think that play was much better than what we expected it to be, because you are right that these guys got chunked out of their minds by this Sun Tzu. But look at how many armies it's distracting.
Yeah, I think that what I would like to see, there's an easy solution to this. which is like, look, why do you even have any marshes on the field at all if you're red in this area? Like, you should either be in the city or there should be a rally going on this desert altar.
Exactly.
And those are the two places you need to be. In the rally, which is not on the field, or in the city. I do love the way that they all rallied to defend their alliance member, though. I thought that was very exceptional. The rapidness with which they responded and actually aided their alliance member. I just wish that there was a rally going right now on this desert altar.
I wish there was a rally going anywhere at this stage. I feel like the blue team is completely in control here, as they have 140 points per minute more than the red team at this point, and they only have to close out about 1,200 points worth of a lead for the red team. And as you say, spoiler alert, the Ark is coming up in 2 minutes, and the blue team is positioned to grab it. This will get them about, what, 7,000, 6,000 points? So, no bueno.
Look at this ninja army over here by the outpost.
As soon as it started flashing.
Outpost. It's just a bunch of siege units. How do you make it all the way up to the top of the map with siege units?
I don't even know, man.
And successfully take the structure.
Now, if you ask me what this guy needs to be doing right now, is he needs to go towards the caravan. If you look closer to the Ark of Osiris, there's a caravan to the Ark itself, a level 2 caravan that's inside the path. He should be sitting there and potentially trying to do a little bit of damage to the guy carrying the Ark, because even though it's only sieges and there's plenty of marches out there that could potentially take him out, if the blue team snoozes, he might be able to make them drop the Ark and make it take a bit longer for them to get the Ark in. Blue team, though, being aggressive. Shrine of War taken away.
Big swarm on the Shrine of Life. I'm still perplexed that there's not 1 minute rallies and that there's these swarms, but they took the Shrine of Life. If I was in red, I would immediately make my way to that desert altar. Like, you need to get that right now.
And they are. AB the Beast is Barbie girling his way to the sky altar. He's getting chunked out of his mind. I wonder if he'll... Oh, he barely didn't make it to that sky altar. Surrender 2 is just standing there instead of trying to get more positioning on this sky altar. But remember that at this stage, the guys with the tier 4s against the guys with the tier 3s have 10% extra defense and attack. This...
Gecko, I have one word for you.
One word.
I have one word for you.
Hit me.
Free. Free. Bumblebee just walked into the desert altar for free. Meanwhile, there's these blue marches in the middle of outer space doing literally nothing.
Absolutely no way.
Any one of those armies, it looks like they all belong to the same player. Any one of those armies, if they had been in the structure, could have held it.
Can you look at Bumblebee really quickly? He's just passing a guy, Wing, Lig, whatever it is, on the caravan, and he left that desert altar empty. If Wing is paying attention, he's going to get out of that caravan now and snatch that desert altar back for the blue team, but I don't think he's anywhere near the stratosphere.
I don't think he is. Now, at this stage of the game, the desert, it looks like the Shrine of War went to the blue team. I would let them keep it.
Yeah, primarily because they are destroying your bottom obelisk with a rally walking into that obelisk too.
I really, like, with only 20 minutes left, the only structures I care about now are getting the altars. Like, you want the Shrine of War? Fine. You want the Shrine of Life? Fine. Right? Like, I need the points at this stage of the game to get ahead, or we're going to lose. That said, they did take it successfully, which is great, and... Bumblebee doing fierce work on the Shrine of War up top. Yet another reason why I feel like, even though siege units really suck in combat, like, I've got over 200,000, I could plunk into one of these structures and then not pay attention to them all map, or yeah, the whole time. It seems like it helped the defense, you know. You
know what's the worst thing about Bumblebee's about to do? Where does the Ark go now? Because the Ark has to go somewhere right now, and it can't. So now the defenders of the Ark have to actually try to contest for this Shrine of War. But the blue team, I think, are making a huge move. And this is going to be a game-changing move. They're going for the bottom obelisk. Now the red team, now that they're holding these altars, they have to keep holding this obelisk. And I'll tell you why. If there
it's going to fail.
There's a rally coming, though. There's a rally coming, too. Look at that. There's if this obelisk is being taken out and it gets taken by the blue team, that leaves them 14 minutes where they can port to this side, and at this stage they can contest for this altar, for everything on this side, clean up these guys out of here, and they make it very tough in terms of march time for the red team to be able to contest these buildings again. Blue team going for the desert altar on the top as well.
You know, I think
boy.
it's a mistake. I think that rally should have gone to any altar of their choosing instead of this obelisk.
I agree with you. I think I agree with
this
you.
obelisk is... This rally can't be reinforced. The players that were here just suicided on the obelisk. And even worse than suiciding on the obelisk is that they made all the players that were here keenly aware that they needed to defend this structure. So now the obelisk is super defended because they were just preparing for that swarm. The timing of that attack was just off,
a little bit off. Yep. I think that those solo marches should have waited for this rally coming in and helped the rally while it was going on. And it cost the blue team a lot because the red team has taken back a lot of the buildings. The blue team was trying to take the desert altar on the top of your screen, but it is failing. It seems like it is failing. They're still pushing forward with a bunch of marches trying to still take this desert altar. But I think the blue team is slowly cracking out of this the situation they were in, which was they had the lead, they had everything going for them, they had the Ark, they had everything, they have the better troops, just they don't have the numbers. And maybe, my friend, you were right. Maybe it's all about the numbers rather. Well, it's not that what you said. We talked about the marches in general, but maybe numbers are more important than quality when it comes to Ark of Osiris. This is going to be a really interesting one.
Quantity of troops matters a lot. There are so many places you need to be. If you only have 1 or 2 marches, which, like, in my alliance, there was a period of time where many of our players were reduced to a small number of marches. Look, like, you cannot be in all the places that players need to be at, and so your strategy has to change. And so in our next Ark of Osiris, our strategy is going to change pretty profoundly based on that realization. And I'm pretty pumped to showcase what that strategy is. Hopefully it works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. We'll see. We actually once again have a power advantage for our Ark of Osiris matchup. Not a big one this time, but I'll take a power advantage. I'll take it.
Well, I'm pretty sure the blue team would have liked some power advantage too, but it's right now they are marching towards the outpost to try to put their Ark of Osiris back in.
This is an even matchup here, man.
It is.
I mean,
completely is.
When they score this Ark, which they are about to do,
they're going to take the lead.
Yeah.
And a big lead.
Here's the thing. Not only are they taking the lead, but Red is no longer holding these crucial structures that were awarding them all the points. And was robbing Red of all the points.
Not necessarily, my friend. Look at the sky altar at the bottom. Ted Boy marching with infantry, which I know you don't like, but marching slowly and steadily with his infantry. Can he? Is it defended or not? What do you say, Chisgule? Yes or no?
This desert altar, no. I think it's defended.
I say no.
Oh, it's definitely defended.
Is it?
Oh, and this infantry army is caught out and is going to get wrecked. Oh gosh, Lohar is the lead. He's got to turn and fight. You can't run. You cannot outrun the cavalry. You just have to fight and take the loss. Oh my gosh.
Look at the points. Bam. They just took the lead. Blue team just took the lead with that Ark delivery. And they are going for the desert altar on the top with everything they got. At this point, red team has to hold.
Yeah, altar controls the key now. This is it.
Yep.
This is all coming down to altar control at the end of this match.
And the crazy thing is...
right now, blue is winning on that front, I think, right? They've got more of the structures.
Blue needs 1 more minute for their desert altar to finish up, the bottom desert altar. And if that happens, my friend, we are tied. 590 points for each side. And with the blue team ahead by just like, what, 600 points? Red team is going to start getting caravan points or whatever it takes just to get that little bit ahead.
Red must take this desert altar or if they're sneaky, the sky altar. That has to happen.
I think
otherwise they're going to lose out on points.
Yeah, I think that the blue team is actually better positioned to take a desert altar away from the red team than the red team is from taking it from the blue. Quite honestly, if you look at the map, desert altar on the bottom is pretty well surrounded with a couple of marches. So I'm assuming this guy also has a march in the altar. We know their blue sky altar is well defended. So at this stage, the red team really needs to show that they can hold their desert altar. And honestly, we can start talking about potentially, if you can hold this desert altar, start pushing. Oh, I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
That is
highly disruptive.
no bueno.
Highly disruptive. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
that's a real problem. That is a real problem.
I think Leth is making the right move right here. Leth said, screw this. I cannot fight this. I have a fast march on my hand. Can I sneak through this Chinese name guy? No, I cannot. Oh, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. That's what he's saying right now because he wanted to go sneak up, get some yoinkers back, but oh boy.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
12 minutes left in this match. We are not seeing a point differential of more than 600 points. This is crazy.
This is tough. I would say this has been one of the more fun Ark of Osiris's to spectate by far. There's a rally, finally. This was going to be my feedback, is that like there just have not been enough rallies.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
I've never seen an Ark of Osiris with so few rallies. And what I would want to see is that your 30 million power player is leading rally after rally after rally after rally. Because the tech on the 30 million power player is so much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 30 million power player has probably got 15% of each stat on a 5 million power player.
He probably has what you called the tier 4's 4.5, right? He probably is at that stage.
Almost there. But yes, right? The point is that the tech is so good that like the whole rally benefits from the tech of the leader of the rally. But wait, look at this. Barbie Girl possibly leading.
Barbie Girl is leading and is successfully taking out this desert altar in 3, 2, bam.
They did it. They needed to do that.
But now they gotta
really needed to do that.
But now they gotta hold the other desert altar still because it's still being contested and it still has loads of blue troops around it.
It does. I feel okay about that one. What I want them to do now is they have to take the sky altar back. I mean, they have to do a lot of things. When you're playing from behind, you have a lot you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they need to keep 3 altars. The contesting back and forth is killing their point gain per minute, and that is really harming them. Right now, it's tied up in the point gain, but this sky altar is going to convert over in 40 seconds, and then blue is just going to race away with only 10 minutes left. There's just not enough time, especially if the folks in red cannot get the Ark of Osiris, and there is enough time for this Ark of Osiris to be snagged and to turn this thing over.
And just like you say that, my friend, the desert altar they just took with a rally is soloed. Oh boy. Oh,
you know,
boy.
I think part of what we're seeing here is perhaps related to Kingdom Age. Kingdom Age. How much older is the kingdom that has only 16 players that are all higher powered?
So you're talking about primarily about their experience on the battlefield.
Not about their experience on the battlefield per se, although their commanders should be more experienced, because think of all the action points they've gotten for free.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how many hours of troop training speed ups, like 2 months of older kingdom is worth. Do you see what I mean?
Very much so. And again, we're going back and forth into that talk of what is better, quality or quantity, because what you're talking about goes back to the quality. The fact that they're alive, they exist for so long, means that they have a higher quality, not only troops, but commanders as well.
Well, yeah, they may have more quantity of troops too.
They for sure do.
You see what I mean?
They for sure do. 100%. That's not even a question.
Yeah. So that there it is, right? Like quantity of troops. And I get that my words previously was like quantity of marches, which like.
No, but that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. We finally tested that, and we found a better sweet spot. We're talking about quantity of troops, not quantity of marches. Quantity of troops is really what matters, and that goes hand in hand with quantity of marches as well, right? Because if you don't have
potentially,
well, depending on, and of course, one more thing to point out, just like you said, is the age of the kingdom. These guys are more experienced, for sure. These guys know their city better.
Think about the alliance tech too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're still teching up, and you know we've teched up pretty aggressively. I feel like there were times where our alliance's tech was probably not managed as well as it could have been, but like our tech's in a really good place, and we still have teching to do. A kingdom that's got 2 more months of gold income to power up that alliance tech seems pretty good to me.
Pretty crazy stuff. I think that 7 minutes is plenty of time for things still to change, but that means the red team needs to start working now. They have to stop the blue team from making points. I think that, honestly, contesting the Desert Altar that has 28 seconds left on it is not worth it. I think they should let that Desert Altar go for the blue team, and they need to be fighting against the Sky Altar that the blue team is holding and is already ticking for points for them. I don't...
Yeah, I mean, you know, red team has the ball. Red team has the ball, and they've got to go score a touchdown. And so the question is, can they march it down the field? And I don't know. Like, they've got to have some 1-minute rallies that really hit home here, and I don't think that's enough. In fact, here's what I think. Gecko. I think they must abandon structure holding and must go full force on the Ark of Osiris right now.
I agree.
The only way out with 6 minutes left is they must win the Ark of Osiris.
I agree.
If they get the Ark and they score it, they win.
I don't think they have time.
All the structures don't matter anymore.
Do we have time?
They have time.
6 minutes is enough to carry the Ark?
They have time. They have time. I think they have time.
Interesting. And they can get it done, too.
Must, right now, go to the Ark. There's only a handful of blue armies there. If they all get there, right now, forget all the other structures. They're not worth any meaningful amount of points anymore. Let blue come along and take them in now. Doesn't matter. They disrupt some small number of points. You need the 3,500 points from capturing this Ark of Osiris, and you win.
Spoiler alert, these guys are listening in because look at the red marches coming in. I think Leth is
Don't wait for anything. They all just need to go right now. Like,
I think that the best move they can make right now is all the marches that are in the Desert Altar, trying to hold the Desert Altar and all that good stuff on the top of the map, need to start coming on the flank. They need to flank this Ark of Osiris from the blue team. They have to flank it. They have to get some marches coming from the back. They have one march. Leth is in a level 2 caravan, but if he doesn't start posturing forward to get away from marches coming in from the blue side, he's going to get caught out of position, and that's going to be bad news bear. Barbie girl, paying attention to what we're saying and coming.
It's got to be now. Because think about it, like, there's like playing to not lose versus playing to win.
Look at this. Blue marches are not even paying attention. There's a march. Barbie girl has a march coming from the back towards the Ark. 3 marches that are here to defend the Ark are not paying attention. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be fast though. Like, they're gonna have to kill these blue players and grab the Ark and bring it back. And every second that this player in blue is marching it the other direction, it's gonna be problematic.
I think that the play can potentially be taking out either the outpost or any of the buildings close to the Ark on the blue side and potentially carrying it that way.
Man. You madman.
I mean, look at the amount of marches that are coming from the red side to defend this blue Ark of Osiris. Honestly, like, there's 3 full marches.
Now is where we wish that they'd held that Desert Altar, because it turns out that Desert Altar to the upper right is maybe the closest thing.
Mm-hmm.
That said, now these guys in red can't pick it up because there's too many blue marches here. They're just going to get melted. So yeah, they're running away from the Ark. They stopped the movement down the wrong side of the field, which I think is good. But now we've got a conundrum here. With only 4 minutes left, the only place I think they could take it is to either the Desert Altar,
or the
belonging to the enemy, or the Shrine of War. So they need to now capture one of those structures and move the Ark to that structure. But if they do, they win.
You got to keep one thing in mind as well, my friend. These guys are in the blue team are fully tier 4'd out of their mind. And at this stage, what troops does the red team have to provide?
Yeah, it does not look like
in open field combat, the tier 3s versus tier 4s is a huge difference.
Well, here's what they need to do, right? They need to just keep hitting the carrier, because they're going to get good value off of hitting the carrier. And maybe they don't hit the carrier. No. Maybe the crazy play is to let the carrier march it toward one of these objectives, then yoink the objective. Oh, but here's the thing. With only 3 minutes left, do you have to have converted it over to be yours to capture the Ark, or can it be...
I have no idea. I think it's over.
Yeah,
I think it's over. I do like, by the way, that Sir Burger put a Joan of Arc on the battlefield. I know that it's not the best potential play as a leading commander, but I do like the fact that he has the Joan out there giving all these good buffs to his teammates. I blanked there for a moment. You can see all the buffs just going crazy, but
Yeah, we see in chat here, AB to Beast is saying it's impossible to be an alliance with 4 to 5 marches of T4 per person when we have a T3, T4 mix. And you probably don't have 4 to 5 marches per person. Right? Like,
Probably not.
I wonder if we look at the total troops on both sides, what that number would be.
We're about to see how many kills we had, and we can pretty much tell the story from there, because quite honestly, the kills do matter. The kills matter not because of points. The kills matter because when you kill that much and you're not healing as much, it means you're losing troops. You're going down in numbers. What we want to see is how many kills the blue team had and how many heals the red team had, and that'll tell the whole story. I think
this is the closest Ark battle I've ever seen. This was awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm really glad about this.
This was fun to watch.
And
this was really fun to watch.
So here's one of my predicaments about casting Ark of Osiris's. I do want to cast big alliances, but more often than not, what ends up happening is there is 200 million plus power differential between them. It is very rare to see two big alliances fighting it out. So I do focus on small and medium alliances when we're looking, and of course there are some bigs that we're going to be casting this weekend, but the smaller and medium alliances are really the ones that go head to head, and it's really interesting.
This is really interesting. I will say both sides fought very, very well. My coverage was probably skewed towards my friends in red a little bit, because we do have some friends in that alliance.
I don't like AB the Beast, so I don't want to cover him. What?
I see. Both sides I thought fought very, very well. For the folks in red and the folks in blue, I think more rallies is probably a good play.
Exactly. I think that to summarize what this Ark of Osiris was, it was a game of endurance. It was a real game of endurance and focus. This is where you must be in a Discord call. And I can tell you right now, we can listen up a little bit if you'd like. I didn't feel like going in there at this stage, but there is a call by the Codine family. There's a call by the Codine family, and they are in chat. This is where you must be in a Discord call, because when it's so close and all hell breaks loose, you gotta have that communication. The reason you need to be in Discord
is you just cannot possibly see the whole battlefield the whole time. And so someone else, you have to be able to listen to someone else saying, go here, go there, based on what's happening.
And as the defeat shows up on the screen, GG's, everybody. Let's see some GG's in the chat for both these alliances that fought amazingly well. And the story is told in the total kills and total units healed. Look at the healing that happened here.
I mean, I think part of the story is told in the kingdom number.
For sure.
Look how young that kingdom is.
1066.
Kingdom 66.
Wow.
They have had so much more time to tech up as an alliance. They've had probably 3 or 4 months of troop training. How many hours of speed ups is that? I'm not saying they didn't play well. I'm just saying when we try to figure out what it gives you edge in this battle, assuming that both sides do fight equally, what are those things? I think age of the kingdom is going to be super relevant. Quantity of troops and the number of wars you've had is going to be super relevant. Because I'll say that Kingdom War does not exactly translate to Ark of Osiris warring, right? Like, it's sort of different skill sets.
I don't necessarily agree with that last line, because Kingdom Warring has a huge effect on Ark of Osiris, as you saw in your last Ark.
But I'm not saying it doesn't have an effect. I'm saying the skills that you learn Kingdom Warring are different, right? Like, all porting in at one time to defend a structure is sort of a different skill set than, like, you've got your armies on the battlefield and you got to, like, make the most of it. Anyways.
An interesting thing to point out as well is that Kingdom 66 has seen, what, 3 Richard wheels, 2 YSG wheels probably, and they're on their Tao Tao wheel right now, plus probably like 4 or 5 more than gems events, 3 or 4 more than gems events, and Kingdom 58 we've seen them 4 times now, so I'm guessing Kingdom 66 has as well. The amount of commanders that are ahead of our friends in CdR is very, very important. This means that the Tao Taos on the battlefield are faster. This means that the YSGs on the battlefield are potentially expertised. This means that the Richards are expertised. These are huge, huge advantages. And honestly, I am very impressed by CdR. Very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, they went up against a much older kingdom, and that's...
This was Goliath versus David, wasn't it? in terms of the age, because this is crazy.
Yeah, I thought they played really well. That was a tough fight. That was a tough fight.
It
Oh my
really
gosh.
was. It really, really was. Some of these guys are still in there. Like, I'm looking on the map right now as I'm part of CdR with the free-to-play account I have, and some of these guys are still under protection. It means that they are still looking at the stats, still trying to talk it out. So I think that's also very important, by the way. I think that once the arc ends, the alliance that is in a call must stay in the call and talk it through. Not yell and blame each other. This is not where you should be blaming each other on who lost and why. This is where you should sit in your call or in your chat or whatever it is for the next 5 minutes and say, okay, this is what we did good. This is what we did bad. Great job, everyone, for showing up and doing everything you could for us to win. This is where the leadership shows how they are leaders by improving their teammates and giving honest feedback, allowing everybody to give honest feedback, both on the planning, on the execution, and everything in between, so that everybody learns in the future. And of course, enjoy the VODs from me and you, because those will be very crucial for CdR to figure out exactly where they potentially lost this match.
Yeah, I do frequently revisit some of those VODs to see, like, okay, what actually happened in that battle?
Mm-hmm.
What actually happened? Because when you're spectating, like, it's easy to miss stuff. I feel like with us duo casting, we actually see a lot of the action, which is really, really good.
Which is why I love it. You see things on one side, I see things on another. That's why I keep posting the multi-stream links in our chats in the beginning of the cast, because I think it's crucial for everybody to be able to see both of our points of views. Because honestly, if you have it on the one screen, you can keep up with both at the same time, placing one eye on each one of them or something like that. But you have 2 points of views that you can see, okay, where is all the action happening at the same time?
Agreed. Well, my friend, I really enjoyed doing this with you. I've got a troop training kingdom buff to fire off, because we've got a Lord of War event for troop training, and our Ark of Osiris is coming up. And I assume that when you train troops now before Ark of Osiris, but after registration is closed, you still get all those troops for the battle, right? It doesn't snapshot your account.
No. Of course not.
Yeah, so we're gonna.
Ooh, that's an interesting question, you know? Because the power of the registration power doesn't change anymore. What happens if you register with very low troop counts and then boost like crazy right before the arc?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
not that that's the thing we're purposely trying to do.
No.
Not that that's the thing
not
we're
at
purposely
all.
trying to do. Look, the thing that we're trying to do, we were hoping to get a 15% rune. And we did the first reset, no rune. Second reset, no rune. Third reset, no rune. Now we're on the 4th reset. Last reset before the event closes out, so I'm going to fire off this kingdom buff and hook everybody up.
Chad, who believes that this wasn't intentional? Hands up if you believe this wasn't intentional. I don't buy that.
I honestly, if we weren't casting just now, I would have done this a couple hours earlier, so that the folks that had the very early morning Ark of Osiris would have gotten the benefit too. So let's make sure I do this right. Increase training speed by 10% for 4 hours. Mobilize for war. Bada boom. 2,500 gems. And buff is in. Now I'm going to give myself the general. Bada boom. I'm going to do my training, and then I'm basically going to be a general bot for the next 4 hours, passing around general to members of the kingdom.
You got to do what you got to do. Hey, my friend, thank you very much for this duo cast. I hope we'll do this once again or more this coming weekend. But regardless, it is time for both of us to sign out, I guess. Everybody in both chats, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. Of course, don't forget to smash the like button on Chisgule stream, on my stream. Make sure that, you know, it's going up there in the YouTube rankings with all those likes now.
Hey, man, check out the Gecko's channel. Like, subscribe. I really enjoy doing this with you.
Same here, my friend. Well, we're going to keep talking a little bit offline, see how we coordinate the next one and what's the plan for the next few days. And, well, for the next day, I guess. So, yeah, chat, thank you very much for being here. Regular stream, what, in a few hours? I don't even know. Anyway, my friend, great casting with you as always. Have a great rest of your day. Good luck on your arc. I may or may not send a small little account to your kingdom to just spectate what you're doing while you're doing it, while I fight my own Ark of Osiris. If you accept me, that'll be cool. If not, I'll find who your enemy is. What?
Nice.
Anyway,
I see how it is.
Hell yeah. No, not about the stream, just about to just see what you guys are up to. Anyway, you have a great rest of your day, chat. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Peace.
All right, Gecko. Check you out later.